Tom and Janet have been married for 14 years, and their love and passion for each other has not faded, much to their friends' annoyance. Things take a wrong turn when a stranger turns up at their house and ends up dead. There are a lot of questions raised, and the couple's weekend with Tom and Janet's friends figure out who is behind the stranger's appearance. Let's see what the story is all about. Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2021 movie Happily. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie begins at a party where we see Tom and Janet, our main couple. Janet intently stares at Tom as he socializes, and he picks up on her hint. The two of them go to the bathroom for a quick session while another guest waits outside to use the toilet. The guest later walks up to the hosts of the party and complains to them about some couple being locked in the bathroom. The hosts roll their eyes and tell him to pee off the balcony as the couple will be a while. They also explain that Tom and Janet have been married for 14 years and they're always like this. The guest doesn't believe this. Well, Tom and Janet come up to the hosts and thank them for being invited. They then leave for home while the hosts tell the other guests that they've gone home for round 2. Incredulous, the guest says that they must be pretending, as this is not possible, and they must be miserable like other married couples are. Meanwhile, Tom and Janet seem to be pretty happy. The next scene shows us Janet having a dream where she is in a forest. She walks on where there is some fog surrounding some red chairs. They are set up in a circle, but there is no one else there. Janet wakes up alone in bed. In the bathroom, we see that Tom has been messy and she cleans up. Tom is playing video games on the couch and is very dismissive of her. She tells him that Karen texted to have dinner and if he's okay with it. He says yes, and then asks her to make him an omelet even though she's about to leave for work. Janet spends the day at her mind-numbing job and returns home exhausted. But upon arriving, she sees that Tom has cleaned the house and done the laundry. He apologizes for his behavior that morning and guides her to the bedroom where he has set up candles. He offers her a massage, but they end up doing something better. Later, they rush to dinner with their friends who seem to be getting tired of them always being late and sneaking around. Karen and her husband mention the weekend trip their whole friends group was taking and return the deposit made by Tom and Janet, saying that they're short of one bedroom. When Janet insists that they can sleep anywhere, Karen bursts out that everyone hates them. They're never fighting, they're always in love, and can't keep their hands off each other. It's weird and it's a nightmare for everyone to deal with. Tom and Janet are shocked to hear this, but Tom says that he loves his wife and she loves him, and he is not going to apologize for that. If there's something wrong with other people's marriages, then it is not their fault. They walk out and Janet comforts Tom as they wait for their car. The next morning, Janet has the same dream as the night before, but this time she wakes up to breakfast being cooked. She gets ready and is greeted by an omelet and a coffee made by Tom. Tom then walks her to her door where a man in a suit and a briefcase is waiting for them. He tells them that he works for the city and is here on an urgent matter. Janet explains that she is heading to work, but he assures her that this will only take a moment. Inside, the man explains that once in a while there is a mishap where one person is damaged. But this is a rare case, he says, referring to the couple in front of him. As Tom and Janet listen on with identical frowning expressions, he explains that enjoyment and perception dull over time. To be this much in love, to be this sexually active, to rarely fight, and if they do, to immediately forgive each other without any resentment or passive-aggressive behavior is an issue. He opens the briefcase to reveal 2 syringes filled with a neon green substance. He says that after this, they will wake up tomorrow acting and feeling like every other couple. Naturally, Tom and Janet are disturbed to hear this and mention the police, to which the guy responds that his organization works at a higher level than the police, and even they will not be able to do anything about this. Tom gets up to get a glass of water while Janet asks him if they really don't have a choice in this matter, and the guy says yes, he won't leave until he has injected them both. Janet then stands up and slams a piece of decoration on the guy's head, killing him. Tom walks in and Janet is freaking out about what she's done, and Tom immediately forgives her. The two of them then Google how to get rid of a dead body before realizing that the police could trace their search history, so they break and burn their laptop. Next, they do the same research at the library, where their options include cutting up the body into small pieces or giving the body an acid bath. Both of them find these options gross and finally decide on going about this with the classic burial. As they're digging the grave, Janet begins to feel disturbed about what she's done, and Tom comforts her, saying that it was self-defense. They return home and Janet says they should leave as whoever that guy was, someone is going to come looking for him. Just then, Janet's phone rings and it's Karen. She apologizes for the previous night and re-invites them on the weekend trip, and Janet agrees. The next day, they pack up and take the briefcase with them. On the way, Tom suddenly realizes that what if the whole thing was a prank set up by their friends? Because out of the two options, being someone showed up at their door telling them that their marriage was an accident and about to inject them with something that will make them normal, or their friend sent an actor with the whole speech about their marriage as a prank, Janet agrees, saying that Karen probably called to reinvite them as they probably never heard from the actor. Tom and Janet try to figure out who could have been behind this and surmise that their best chance to find this out is through this trip. They also agree not to act suspicious at all, as if the guy never showed up at their door. Eventually, they reach the mansion where they'll be staying for the duration of the weekend. There, they enter the passcode given to them by Karen and park their car. It's a beautiful modern mansion, and they're met by Patricia, who shows them the house. She shows them the big spacious rooms, the automatic doors, and theater. She offers them to pick any bedroom, and Janet mistakenly enters a room which is filled with guns. Patricia explains that the owner of the house is big on hunting, as Janet and Tom look at the various guns in their displays. After showing Tom and Janet their room for the weekend, Patricia admits that she's glad the others changed their minds and invited Tom and Janet, and she's happy to see them. They try asking her about it, but she tells them to forget all the drama and just have a fun weekend. After she leaves, Tom and Janet discuss Patricia, saying that she seemed perfectly normal and it probably wasn't her. Tom thinks about going down to the pool where Patricia's husband is. Outside, another couple arrives, Maud and Carla. They're not happy to see Tom and Janet's car outside and give an obviously fake greeting to Tom as he passes by them on his way to the pool. Outside, Donald is lounging on a float and ignores Tom. After Tom asks for a beer, Donald empties it into the pool and Tom takes the hint to leave. Inside, Patricia tells him not to take it personally. Don has been like this recently. Tom goes upstairs to have a shower and tells Janet that Donald was being weird, but it didn't seem related to them. They discuss Maud and Carla, along with Richard, who is bringing his latest fiancée to the gathering. Janet then strips and the two have some clean fun in the shower, just to ensure that they're behaving normally and to everyone's expectations. But midway, Janet starts getting flashbacks of everything that has happened and has a small panic attack. She begins questioning what if they really are not normal. Tom consoles her and tells her that they'll be okay and they'll find out who is behind all this. As it gets dark outside, the remaining two couples arrive, Karen and Val, and Richard and Gretel. They behave a little sketchy, and Val hands Patricia the keys to his car and says that there's something in there that she might find interesting. As Patricia cautiously approaches the car and opens the trunk, her eyes pop open at the sight, which turns out to be a huge stack of pizzas. Everyone sits down to have dinner as Tom and Janet come downstairs. Patricia is telling everyone about how Val made it sound like there was something dangerous or even a dead body in the car when it was just pizzas, and how in college he was a huge prankster. There was this one time when he got some CIA agent to come into class and take Val out, saying that he was needed on some secret project. Patricia makes it sound like his pranks were pretty significant in scale. Tom and Janet share worried glances as they overhear all this. They go inside and say that it must be Val who was behind the prank. As they're not sure about Karen's involvement, Janet suggests Tom goes and talks to her by joining her as she smokes. None of them smokes, but Tom agrees and approaches Karen. They get to talking when Tom tells her they've no hard feelings about what she said to him and Janet at dinner the other day. Karen then mentions the time they dated, to which Tom states was for hardly a week, and he hadn't even met Janet then. She proposes that he has an affair with her, as she assumes he must be tired of being with one woman for so long, but Tom declines, saying that Janet is his favorite. As the night goes on, everyone parties and has lots to drink. So much so that the drinks soon run out and Janet and Gretel do a grocery run, as they're the only ones who didn't drink. While they're there, Janet suddenly notices the stranger whom she killed staring at her from down the aisle. Shaken, she rings Tom and tells him what she sees. Tom tries to calm her down by offering rational explanations. Maybe she hallucinated or saw someone who looks like him, but Janet insists it was the guy and Tom gets worried too. As she's talking to him outside the store, the stranger drives past her and waves. This time Janet is sure she's not hallucinating. Meanwhile, Tom takes some extra keys from Karen and steals a pistol from the gun room, not feeling safe. When Janet returns, she says that they need to change their strategy. Instead of sneaking around and trying to figure out who did what, they should just put their cards on the table and see what happens. So the two walk up to the group and ask them about the briefcase, but no one in the room admits to recognizing it. When it becomes clear that none of their friends know what they're talking about, Janet and Tom tell them the whole story. They have vicious reactions to this. Karen laughs, saying she was right about them being miserable, while Clara is more concerned that they killed someone. Patricia speaks up for them, saying that it was self-defense and she'd probably do the same. Val asks them why they're only bringing this up now, and Janet and Tom admit that they thought Val was behind this whole thing as Patricia laughs, saying this sounds exactly like something Val would do while Val protests. Their friends then point out that no one knows what is in the syringes, and Tom asks if anyone knows a scientist, and so Karen calls up a friend who says he'll come over first thing in the morning. Tom and Janet are understandably spooked, but Patricia assures them that the house is very safe, and they all retire to the rooms. Tom places the suitcase under their bed and then goes downstairs to fetch a glass of water for Janet. There, Karen once again propositions him, but he declines and returns upstairs. In bed, when Janet tries to approach him, he tells her that they don't need to keep up appearances. Confused, Janet goes back to sleep. Sometime in the night, Tom awakens upon hearing some noise and goes to the bathroom. Then he sees a small needle's prick on his side and gets worried. He grabs the briefcase and heads downstairs and sees that one of the syringes is empty. Karen appears, confessing that she injected him and finally succeeds in getting him to cheat on Janet. Janet wakes up in her bed and some hidden camera shows her what's going on downstairs. Crying, she gets into bed, and later Tom returns to bed. The next morning, they both are very awkward with each other and hardly speak, but things take a turn when Tom notices the picture of the guy with the briefcase in the living room. He immediately confronts Patricia about it, who tries to play it cool, but then admits she got the house from a coworker who overheard that she was looking for a house and that she's having money troubles as Donald lost his job a few weeks ago. They're all shocked that Patricia took money from them, but Janet points out that the guy is watching them and makes it known to Tom and Karen that there is a camera on that couch in the living room. Everyone rushes from the house, but the gate won't open and the fence is electrified. As everyone begins to panic, they all receive messages on their phone to go inside. Having no other choice, they do exactly that. Inside, all the furniture is gone, and there are red chairs assembled in a circle, exactly like Janet's dream. They all get seated and wait for Gretel, who had to go to the bathroom. When they're all in their chairs, a voice sounds, saying that they have to have an honest chat with each other. Patricia starts, saying that everyone knows she's broke. It is also revealed that she took all their money, and that is why she had spoken about Janet and Tom being uninvited. Janet then speaks up about Tom being with Karen last night as everyone gasps. Tom then says that Karen had injected him, to which Karen admits, but says that she only stuck the needle in and threw the liquid out. Val feels betrayed, to which Karen says that he's gay and everyone knows about him and his sous chef. After Carla speaks up that she had slept with Karen last Thanksgiving, making Karen say that it was because Tom refused her. Lastly, Gretel reveals that Richard is abusive towards her. After everyone has revealed their lies, the gates of the house open and everyone gets to leave. The owner of the house arrives and congratulates Janet and Tom, but Janet tells him that she doesn't need any explanation and they leave as well. On the way back, we see all the couples reconcile and come close after being honest, apart from Richard and Gretel. Richard gets off to take a piss but is shot in the head by Gretel. Karen then suggests that Gretel meet their scientist friend. Lastly, we see Janet going through all the good years of her marriage and comes to the decision to forgive Tom. She sits on his lap and kisses him before saying that they need new friends. They laugh as the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.